So I believe this just came out late yesterday evening, that being Wednesday evening, the 25th. Trump administration sues all 15 Maryland federal judges over the order blocking removal of immigrants. Okay, so this is super interesting and we're going to read it in a moment. But first, I just kind of want to give you a few reasons on why you might be getting some pushback here from all these judges. It's not because they're radical left-wing lunatics. It's not because they're out to get you. It's because, okay, I have a bunch of reasons listed here, and this is just scratching the surface. Maybe because you're black bagging people and shipping them to Louisiana so that you get favorable immigration rulings, and you're doing this all without due process, and you're black bagging people and sending them to CCOT, a El Salvadorian concentration camp, and all these people, you are essentially, you're depriving all of them of due process. It was said that 90% of the people we sent to fucking CCOT had no criminal record. They were all just alleged by the government. It's like, if you're alleging these people and giving them life in a concentration camp until they die, don't you think we should have some due process there? You have agents waiting outside of courtrooms to arrest immigrants who are trying to go through the legal process. They're doing the right thing and they get arrested. In fact, you've used this against them for, not only undocumented, but people on asylum, TPS status, even green card holders. Like, people doing the right thing, you're arresting right at the courthouse, and you're honeypotting them most of the time too. The people you are nabbing and disappearing in a lot of cases actually have some sort of legal status at the time that you arrested them. For example, Abrego Garcia, as a part of previous immigration rulings, was barred from being deported from El Salvador and was also granted a legal work authorization to work here. So he is in construction and he's also a union member. We covered this a couple weeks ago, there's 500,000 people that you just ordered deportations for that were here on TPS status, that came here legally, and you did that knowing damn well that they are from countries like Haiti, doesn't have a functioning government right now, by the way, complete gang rule. Countries like Afghanistan, that's in control of, the fucking Taliban, Venezuela, and what else? Cuba, Nicaragua, like so many countries that are not in good states, that by every letter of the definition of asylum meets those claims, especially if you say South African Afrikaners meet everything to a fucking to a T. Like, you wonder why you're getting pushback here. Okay, I digress. Let's get into the actual article. The Trump administration on Tuesday filed a lawsuit against all 15 federal judges in Maryland over an order blocking the immediate deportation of migrants, challenging their removals, ratcheting up a fight with the federal judiciary over President Donald Trump's executive powers. The remarkable action lays bare the administration's determination to exert its will over immigration enforcement, as well as growing exasperation with federal judges who have time and time again turned aside executive branch actions they see as lawless and without legal merit. It's extraordinary, Lori Levinson, a professor at Loyola Law School, said of the Justice Department's lawsuit and its escalating DOJ's effort to challenge federal judges. At issue is an order signed by Chief Judge George L. Russell III and filed in May, blocking the administration from immediately removing from the U.S. any immigrants who file paperwork with the Maryland District Court seeking a review of their detention. The order blocks the removal until 4 p.m. on the second business day after the habeas corpus petition is filed. The administration says the automatic pause on removal violates a Supreme Court ruling and impedes the president's authority to enforce immigration laws. The Trump administration has been locked for weeks in a growing showdown with the federal judiciary amid a barrage of legal challenges to the president's efforts to carry out key priorities around immigration and other matters. The Justice Department has grown increasingly frustrated by rulings blocking the president's agenda, accusing judges of improperly impeding the president's power. President Trump's executive authority has been undermined since the first hours of his presidency by an endless barrage of injunctions designed to halt his agenda. It's because everything you're doing, most of the shit you're doing is fucking illegal. Like, break the law and find out. Like, I don't understand. Attorney General Pamela Bondi said in a statement Wednesday, the American people elected President Trump to carry out his policy agenda. This is like such a talking point they have here. This pattern of judicial overreach undermines the democratic process and cannot be allowed to stand. A spokesperson for the Maryland District Court declined to comment. Democratic Representative Glenn Ivey of Maryland slammed the lawsuit, writing in a post on X, "This is absurd and an unprecedented attack on the federal judiciary in Maryland. The Trump administration will stop at nothing to undermine judicial rulings and delegitimize the courts." Trump has railed against unfavorable judicial rulings and in one case called for the impeachment of a federal judge in Washington who ordered plane loads of deported immigrants to be turned around. That led to an extraordinary statement from Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts, who said impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreement concerning a judicial decision. Yeah, and there was legislation to impeach, I think, several judges, but luckily I don't think they were ever brought up to a vote, and they tried to slip in a provision in the big beautiful bill that basically said that federal judges can't do any nationwide injunctions. So yeah, you better be ready to stand by those words, Justice John Roberts. Among the judges named in the lawsuit is Paula Zenas, who has called the administration's deportation of Kilmar Abrego Garcia to El Salvador illegal. Attorneys for Abrego Garcia have asked Zenas to impose fines against the administration for contempt, arguing it ignored court orders for weeks to return him to the U.S. The order signed by Russell says it aims to maintain existing conditions in the potential jurisdiction of the court, ensure immigrant petitioners are able to participate in court proceedings and access attorneys, and give the government fulsome opportunity to brief and present arguments in its defense. In an amended order, Russell said the court had received an influx of habeas petitions after that resulted in hurried and frustrating hearings, and that obtaining clear and concrete information about the location and status of the petitioners is elusive. The Trump administration has asked Maryland judges to recuse themselves from the case. It wants a clerk to have a federal judge from another state hear it. Yeah, like probably fucking Louisiana or some shit. Jesus Christ. James Sample, a constitutional law professor at Hofstra University, described the lawsuit as further erosion of legal norms by the administration. Normally, when parties are on the losing side of an injunction, they appeal the order, not sue the court or judges, he said. On one hand, he said the Justice Department has a point that injunctions should be considered extraordinary relief. It's unusual for them to be granted automatically in an entire class of cases, but he added it's the administration's own actions and repeatedly moving detainees to prevent them from obtaining writs of habeas corpus that prompted the court to issue the order. The judges here didn't ask to be put in this unenviable position, Sample said, faced with imperfect options. They have made an entirely reasonable, cautious choice to modestly check an executive branch that is determined to circumvent any semblance of impartial process. Yeah, so that's where we are at. This administration will never stop when it comes to just trying to deport as many people as possible, no matter what studies show about how they commit less crime than U.S. citizens, and actually an influx of immigrants to an area, both documented and undocumented, leads to less crime. They'll completely ignore the fact that the undocumented immigrants alone pay $100 billion into our tax system every year, and being generally ineligible to collect majority of the benefits related to it, despite what a bunch of Republicans will say. No, they're not collecting Social Security. No, they're not collecting Medicare. Like, just drop it and do fucking 5 minutes of research that isn't like Elon Musk or Donald Trump's fucking Twitter. So for the people who support this, I need you to genuinely reflect here. Why are you supporting this? And I'm not talking about the violent criminals. That's obvious. But fun fact, because of these unreasonable quotas, like 3,000 deportations a day, it's actually making agents put less focus on actual criminals because that takes more time. So that leads to them going to job sites, immigration hearings, at courthouses, schools, farms, and arresting people who are just hard workers and just trying to make a better life here, and also make up a very important part of our workforce and economy. Like, deporting all these people, not only are you losing out on hundreds of billions in tax revenue, you're also kneecapping several industries like agriculture, construction, hospitality. Like, it's not like we have a jobs problem in this country. They're not taking our jobs. We have a wage problem. We need better wages. Okay? So, I don't know why, if you want to fucking make people have more money, pass some fucking livable wage or national minimum wage that's actually livable. So I don't get the focus on this. I do not get the focus. You don't even know the paperwork of most people you talk to. Okay? You don't. And so why does it matter so much? I ask you also, is this making your healthcare more affordable? Is it improving your healthcare? Is it improving your wages? Is it making education more affordable? Is it lowering grocery prices? In some cases, it might actually raise them when you fucking destroy our agriculture industry. Is this materially improving your life in any way aside from satiating some sick fucking xenophobic fantasy? Like, be real with me here. Why do you care so much about people? I understand violent criminals. I understand. I'm not going to argue against deporting violent criminals. Are you kidding me? But people who haven't committed any crime, aside from not having some paperwork, why do you care so much? And do you also acknowledge that a lot of these people that are being deported have legal status of some sorts, or had legal status that was revoked? Like, I just don't get it, man. I just don't get it. Like, you need a fucking reality check. You need to go look at studies on immigrant crime. You need to go look at studies on immigrants in our workforce. You need to go look at studies on how much immigrants pay in taxes. Yeah, like, Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ. I can't. Wake up. Wake the fuck up and press our government and our politicians to do something that will actually materially improve our lives. The number one cause of bankruptcy in this country is medical bankruptcy. Strike one, you're out. That should be the number one issue. Instead, what's Trump and Republicans pushing for? Cutting Medicaid and Medicare so that at least 10 million people will lose health care if this bill passes. The big, beautiful bill, that is. Insane. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below. And if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.